Uh, Welcome to a new series that I call What If I? And it's all wrestling themed. So, today's theme is What If I Put WrestleMania 39? First of all, let's get one thing started here. Let's talk about who are the current champions. Most of it is the same. Like, Roman Reigns is the Universal Champion, not the WWE champion. There will be the final of a tournament that would be going on would be at WrestleMania to declare the champion. Uh, uh, Same with the Usos. They relinquished the Raw tag team titles. There will be a finished. It will basically be the same. And Gunther, Bobby Lashley, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan are still the current champions. Storylines heading into this, which next will be storylines heading into this. So yeah, every wrestling thing has to have a storyline. So let's get into the major ones. John Cena versus Gunther. John Cena versus Gunther. Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. Now if Rey loses this match, he will have to retire from WWE. I came up with this idea because I'm like, I think this would be interesting. This is a major storyline. Dominic Mysterio is still part of the Judgment Day, but the Judgment Day has a few new members added. Rhea Ripley's still a part of it, but they added a lot more men, and Edge is still a part of it in this universe, which leads into the next storyline: the Judgment Day versus Team Taker, this would be Undertaker's last match ever in the WWE. Then there's another storyline: will Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle coexist to win the tag team championships? Will they coexist? Because their feud they're having now. I'm like, why don't I make this into a storyline where they could actually see if they're in the show? By the way, and then the Royal Rumble winner, Ali, and Shane McMahon and Roman Reigns are having a little feud back and forth, because this is the story I went with here, what I was trying to go for. Now I'll try to sit. Now I'm trying to get your mind set for this part, because this is where it gets a bit complicated. Because of and then there's another major feud, which was Trish Stratus and Bayley. Trish Stratus and Bayley. They've been working at it, but I'm going to save it till WrestleMania instead of what they're likely going to do, Crown Jewel. And while we're at it, while we're at it, there's also another major storyline that goes into WrestleMania, which is Biggie. I mean, not Biggie. Omos versus Braun Strowman. They're having a major feud. They're having a very major feud that will end at this time. So, now that we got that taken care of, let's go to night one of WrestleMania. Night one of WrestleMania will be 5 hours and 30 minutes. And the matches, here's the first one, Big E versus Bobby Lashley. In my world, I would see them going back and forth, back and forth. You might get to see like a couple of spears from Bobby Lashley. It would be an all-out match. It would go for a little bit because of the time, but it is for the U.S. Championship. But ultimately, at the end, Big E will become the winner because of hard work and determination. Next match is, in my universe, Gunther is not Walter, so Walter versus John Cena. Now, this match will be very good. They'll give it all on the line for the IC Championship. John Cena has never won this belt, and that would determine him so much in this match. And that's basically what it's about. John Cena wanted that title, and he gets it because John Cena wins. Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn versus Hurricane, which is the Hurricane and Kane mixed together for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Now, I think I would give this, it's going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, forward and back. But ultimately, Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn will win the Raw Tag Team Championships because of hard determination and overall, they just really coexist. They're like a brothership, even though they're not brothers. Edge, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, AJ Styles, and Montez Ford. These are all the members of the Judgment Day, including Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio, but they're not in the match. Versus Undertaker, Miz, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Shinsuke Nakamura, Angelo Dawkins, and this will be a War Games match. Now, I see this match going back and forth for a little bit. No one gets eliminated. The first one would be eliminated would be Angelo Dawkins. Then it would go AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Damian Priest, and then it would ultimately be Finn Balor. Then Edge would somehow eliminate The Undertaker, but The Fiend will win the match for Team Taker. The Usos versus Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins. Now, these two have been feuding over the past week, so what's going to happen here is they're probably not going to get along. The Usos are in the ring, and they work well and more better as a team. So, ultimately, Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And now this is the final of the WWE Championship Tournament. It's The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. The Rock came in because I'm going to say one of the participants became injured and they had a mystery. So it's The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. I think it will be a very back and forth match until the eventual winner and new WWE champion Cody Rhodes wins. And then the main event of night 1, Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio. If Rey Mysterio loses, he has to retire. Now, I feel like they will go back and forth, and it will be an instant classic, compared to Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. But ultimately, Dominic would win. And he will get the win the Judgment Day needs. Okay, night 2. Now let's get to night 2, which will be 6 hours and 50 minutes. So let's get to the first match. Wade Barrett versus Drew McIntyre. Now these two are close friends, and I feel like they will go back and forth, 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 until eventually Drew McIntyre wins and beats Wade Barrett. Liv Morgan versus B-Fab, one of the members of Hit Row, for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, Liv Morgan isn't my favorite, but I feel like they would give this time because it's 6 hours and they need to give one of these matches a lot of time. So it would be ultimately Liv Morgan that retains the title. Omos versus Braun Strowman. I feel like it would be a hard-hitting match. And Braun Strowman has beat people taller, I think. And this match would go back and forth, back and forth. A lot of power moves, maybe the ring falls apart. It's just a normal match, but the ring falls apart. But eventually Omos would win. Bianca Belair versus Io Sky for the Raw Women's Championship. This will go back and forth, 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 back and forth. Until eventually Io Sky wins the Raw Women's Championship. Next we have a tag team match. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Stephanie McMahon versus Road Dogg, X-Pac, and Ronda Rousey. Winner, D-Generation X, the original D-Generation X, with just Triple H and Shawn Michaels, with Stephanie. So, they win after a good long match, probably, And this one is, next match is Wayman and Johnny Knoxville versus Logan Paul and Bad Bunny. Anything goes match. Now, I feel like this will be interesting, and I will give this match a lot of time. I'll give the 3 matches a lot of time to go with. I feel like I haven't set what time they'll go to, but let's just say each match is around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna say this match will be pretty long as well because they have a show. Some of them will be cut short, but all I know is that Wee Man and Johnny Knoxville will lose to Logan Paul and Bad Bunny, just so we can keep Logan Paul's winning streak at WrestleMania alive. Bayley versus Trish Stratus. This match, of course, will go back and forth. A legend versus what we would call a legend nowadays. And this match would ultimately go the way of Trish Stratus. But Bayley would definitely win the match, just because I feel like if they were to do this, Bayley would win regardless. It it would definitely not be one-sided, but it would definitely be a good match that would favor Trish Stratus at the beginning, favor Bayley, favor Trish Stratus near the end. Bayley wins. You know, something like that, like you and your opponent throw everything at each other, and then one opponent just becomes more dominant throughout the match. Like, back and forth, they throw everything at each other, and then they become more and more tired, and eventually that will lead to Bayley winning. Next is the main event for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon versus Mustafa Ali. I put Ali just because it's easier for me to remember. Now, I see with all these styles clashing at each other, of course Roman Reigns is going to be, dominant, but he ain't going to win. Because Ali is. Because I feel like he won the Royal Rumble. We need something good to happen at the end of WrestleMania. So I think Mustafa Ali finally getting his moment to shine at the top that Kofi Kingston took. When Kofi Mania was a thing, would happen. But I do think this match would be very good. Because I have a sight for those things, and I don't think it's worth main event level quite yet. But I feel like if they just gave it a shot, they definitely could get some good quality matchups out of them. And